The question that I have been seeing is from the owners of the business. And the question is, how do I stop employees from leaving and taking my clients? So I have an answer for you. Whether you are a salon, spa, school, no matter what your business is, but for this particular show, I will talk about the wellness space. Let's say you have a massage spa or clinic and you have hired someone, and maybe it's a 1099, maybe it's an employee, but it's someone who didn't have a following or a client base and they just needed work and you needed help. I'm going to speak to this from both sides because I have a personal experience that I can relate to this. And then I have my clients who struggle with this on a regular basis. So here's three things I'm going to break down for you, which would prevent that from happening. So get out your notebooks, get out your pen, and let's dive in. So, one of the first things that come to mind is people are looking for opportunity. They're not just looking to take and to leave. The majority. Okay, maybe there are a few that have ill will and the intention is to go and to position themselves and to take. It could be possible, but just so you know, they'll have a detrimental future anyway. It'll happen to them because they've done it. So let's just let that go. And let's just go to most people. Most people are not business minded. If they were, they would not be coming to you for work. Got it? They would already know how to promote, how to market, how to get clients. They wouldn't need you. They would already have a network of people, a potential audience or fan base, and they because they just happen to be great, ethical, moral people who have a lot of people who trust them already. Because trust is the first thing that needs to be established in order to grow an audience or a clientele. So let's just start with number one. They are not business people. They don't have a business mindset. They don't have this mentality that you have. They don't have the same understanding. You guys are speaking different languages. Your communication is off. So, as the owner, we are a different species. This person is coming in because they need money, they need experience, and they need customers to practice on to develop their skill set, right? Their trade, whatever their trade is. So they need you. So set up the offer with that in mind. We train, we develop, we help you get started. This is what it looks like. And then give them a path out of that. In other words, become responsible for growing people, not just hiring people. It's a completely different mindset shift. As the owner of the company that wants to create impact, development, education, leadership is a way to create that impact because you will grow people who are loyal, who are committed, accountable, responsible if you set up the opportunity correctly. Because what most people want is opportunity. They don't want a stinking job. They don't want a job. Yes, they need money. They want money. They want consistency. But the truth is, everyone wants freedom. Freedom to be themselves, freedom to create change, freedom to leave an impact. They all want freedom to do what they want to do. And very often, that freedom is in the freedom to serve the way that I want to, the way that fits my life, like my whole life, not just my career. So, number one, I tell you, I was going to go through three, is you have to set up the culture. Needs to be very transparent that there is a development process. There is a scaling pay according to that. So if you don't want people to come in and take your client or your clientele, or take what you have built, then set it up in a way that they grow with you and never out of you. That's the part that's so tricky. So, number one is to be very clear, create the culture of growth, of development, of communication, and show them the path. Like, this is where you start. These are the KPIs, key performance indicators. This is what's expected of you. This is the behavior. This is how you should be showing up in the brand because they are now representing the brand. So you don't really want them kind of like grotesque on social media. Like, sorry, but you want professionals being professionally represented, even on their social. And for those who are like, you can't make me put that on my personal page, then they're not your person, dude. They're not your person. They're not professional. You got to decide who you want to represent your company. So notice when you get the red flags of someone pushing back. I don't want to be developed. I don't want to be trained. I just want to come to work. I just want to make the money and I want to do what the hell I want to do on my own social media accounts. I don't give a squat about your company or your brand or your representation. Guys, they're not aligned. You don't have the same values. And so you have to position this as an opportunity to grow. That's number one, is how you set up the culture in the workplace. The second thing is you want to offer them opportunity. People want opportunity. Believe it or not, they don't just want a paycheck. They just don't like want to get paid, go off, do their own thing. Because as soon as they go off to do their own thing, they're going to have the same problem as you, right? And so we already know that as the owner. We've already outgrown our current position. So we have to take the leadership position and offer the opportunity. Here's the opportunity to grow here and how to grow into an important part of the company, a relevant part of the company. Like you're selling them on the vision of where the company is going, you're getting their buy-in, and then you're getting them the path to get there. So the very first thing is you want to create the workplace that has communication and transparency. They know where they're going, they know what you're offering, they know where they're starting, they know where they're going to. The second thing is you want to offer them opportunity to grow in and above, where they actually become part of the team and they help you with others. That's what we're looking for. Now, not everyone's going to be a fit for that, but there's other opportunities in the company. But I think that people will stay where they know they can grow. Like the opportunity is kind of like the carrot, right? And so you create that. You create that. And if you don't create that, you're going to have a lot of turnover and you are going to have your most popular or busy therapists or practitioners that are walking off with the clients. Just so you know, if you create big enough opportunity, bigger than what they can do on their own, then why would they leave? Unless you're a shitty boss. Got it? Which leads me to number three. You have to develop yourself to become the person that can hold that bigger container for more practitioners that are doing well under your wings. You have to represent that. You have to take responsibility for that, for being the person who can hold the space of that sort of success. And many owners don't know how to do that yet because they're too busy being the workers. You got to get out of the habit of being the practitioner, the I'm going to do it all myself. This isn't worth the trouble. I'm just going to show up and take like the best clients and make the most money. It's just shitty. It's being a shitty boss. So it's the difference between growing your own brand and your own clientele and then growing your business. So I'll repeat that. It's the difference between growing your personal brand and your client list versus growing a company. So your brand is who you are in the world. What is the message? What is the change? What is the like what kind of impact do you want to make? Who are you? It's you. It's a personal brand. And building your clientele is how many people are coming to that brand because it's you the person. Dude, that is not scalable, just so you know. But you can do it and you can make plenty of money. The thing that I'm talking about here today is how do you grow a company and a company brand that offers lots of opportunity, paints the vision of where somebody can grow with you and how you can do something bigger and better together. The risk in that is, yeah, if it's not a great workplace, if the culture sucks, if there's unfairness in politics and people are not being seen, they're not being validated, they're not being heard, and the ones who are being shitty employees are getting away with it and no one calls them out, but then they have to be the person to take responsibility, then they are going to leave and they should leave because they need to go and find someone who's being the person who can hold the space for their success. You're not going to be able to keep good people with a shitty mindset and a shitty workplace. So that's your responsibility to develop as the leader, as the owner, as the mentor that can inspire and motivate some sort of change through success, not cheerleading, but through success, through a success path, right? Through strategy, communication, clarity, and opportunity. But you have to become that leader who can see that. You have to become the visionary that can express that opportunity for those people. Now, you're always going to have people who just want to show up and get paid. That's fine. We need those. I think of this when I was in direct sales. And so it's like, yeah, you need the leaders who want to go out and grow a team and you want to develop them. And then you need customers who order on a very regular basis, like every single month. And then you need these people who just do drop in orders. You need all three. So it's the same with this. You need the visionary who's the owner. You need the middle person, which is more of like the manager, the leader, that person that you're going to develop to be like, in other words, you're one. You want to create three of you on the next tier. They're the builders. They're going to help you build. And then you have the integrators who are the ones who are going to deliver the product and service. Make sense? Three tiers, three different types of people, but the visionary takes on the responsibility to grow themselves first. I highly recommend that. If you're interested in someone to help you do that, then you can just send me an email or just respond to wherever you're listening to this at, and I'll be sure and let you know how you can work with me so we can help you become that person who can hold the space for bigger success and better leaders. Otherwise, you're going to always be asking the question, how do I prevent employees from taking my customers and leaving? It's a very shitty question, and it happens. But people don't leave opportunity where they are being validated, where they are being recognized, where they are being paid well, treated well, listened to. They don't leave those opportunities, especially if they trust you and they know they can grow with you. But you have to be willing to develop yourself, and then you have to be willing to develop them to teach them how to develop the integrators or the practitioners that are delivering the product and the service. And if you set this up, if you set up this winning culture where you're all winning together, everyone knows their role and position, there is fairness in the workplace. And I know we don't live in a fair world, but fairness in the workplace sounds like this. Here are the policies. Here are the procedures. Here is the handbook that we all abide by. And so if Susie shows up on time or 5 minutes early or does everything they're supposed to say, do by the book, if Susie does all of that, but then Tina shows up 15 minutes late, she takes days off, she cancels her appointments, she doesn't show up, and Tina doesn't have to follow what Susie has to follow, you're going to lose Susie because you're not willing to lose or train Tina. Make sense? So your good leaders, the people who will stay, who will grow with you, who are not just looking at the bottom dollar, but are actually looking for opportunity and want to do something bigger than themselves. And they want to use your platform, your business, your audience in order to do that with you. And you can't see them because you're letting these others get away with BS. You're not going to keep the good people. Sorry, if you do, they're going to be resentful and bitter. So fair means everyone has to follow. Everyone has to submit to the KPIs. Everyone has to show up in the dress code. Everyone has to represent themselves. I don't care how good they are, what they're contributing, what they're doing. They cannot show up in a way that is unethical or immoral or not in direct alignment with the brand And you let them get away with that and think your good people are going to stick around because they're not. And so when you say they take your customers, boo, they're not going to take your customers. It's because you aren't being the person that could hold the space for all of it. And so, yes, I am calling you out because I had to call myself out so that I can hold the space for that sort of success. And I was willing to develop myself, to invest in myself, to become trained, and to actually put myself in a position to where I was under someone else. And now I got to experience politics in the office. I got to experience leadership. I got to experience what feels good and doesn't feel good. And then I get to make a decision. Is this aligned or not aligned? And is the company across the board setting the same standards, policies, procedures, rules for everyone? Because I want to be in a result driven winning environment. And if I can't win because losers are getting away with things that they're not being called out on, they're not being reprimanded, there's no boundary set, they're getting away with it because of who they are or who they know, I'm out. And so that's how you lose your good people. All right. I hope this was helpful. Make sure that you took notes of if you want to set up a winning business that has incredible leaders, you have to first become the person who can hold that space, who can take responsibility, who can plant the vision and sell it. Then you need to be able to identify and develop those leaders within the company who are going to help you grow. And you have to offer them incredible opportunity for them to stay. They want to win with you. And the last thing is, can you develop them to a way to where they can be duplicated? So they duplicate you and then they duplicate themselves. All right. If you want to know more about this, or if you're interested in working with me, then make sure to respond wherever you are listening to this at. If you know someone who is struggling in their salon, spa, or school, and this could be helpful, please send them the podcast. I would love to thank you for doing that in advance. So let me know if there's any topic that I can cover. I will be happy to submit to that. I'm ready to cover anything that has to do with start, growing, and scaling because it is what I love talking about. I believe business owners are the change makers of the world. I believe we can create the most impact because we can develop the people who are able, develop the people who are doing, and develop the people who are bringing up people under them. And that, my friends, is how we create change. It starts with us. So let me know if there's anything that I can cover that you have not heard so far on this almost 400 episodes. Please share with family and friends. Give me a rating and review so that I can get this to more people. That's it. Have an amazing week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than Mindset.